Welcome back to the Ask Dom Nat show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. The fastest 30 minutes of your day to make you an overall more informed person. My name is Dominique Pereira, but you know me as Ask Dom Nat. Today, guys, I am here with y'all to give you the news you need to know, to give you some informative, just what my goals are in 2026. So let's get into the rundown. Now, we have 30 minutes together, guys. So today is so much information that I don't know that I can pack it into 30 minutes, but I'm going to give my best. U.S. captures Maduro. Maduro from Venezuela is in the U.S. Woo, a lot there. Now, because that's going to take quite a bit of our show, and instead of just talking about that from a geopolitical standpoint, I want to incorporate really what the business significance of U.S. capturing Maduro is. Next is I want to get into my goals for 2026. A lot of people have been asking me, Dom, what are your goals for 2026? And I'm just, okay, I have my own personal goals. I want to get into that with you guys. And they're ambitious. They're ambitious. I want 2026 to be my best year ever. So hopefully with your guys' help, we're going to accomplish that. Let's get into U.S. capture Maduro. All right. So President Trump, hate it or love him, decided, you know what, Venezuela is looking real comfortable over there, and I don't like it. You have Venezuela. For those who don't know, Venezuela is ran by, I'll call it an authoritative, or was ran by authoritarian dictator, Nicolás Maduro. Nicolás Maduro was in power. He lost an election by about 70% back in 2024, but decided, I don't want to go anywhere. Actually, I like this little presidential palace. I'm not going to go anywhere, but there have been allegations of he's sending drugs. You know, he's working with the cartel to send drugs to the United States. He's not favorable to U.S. companies. There's an embargo in Venezuela. All the good stuff that comes with the hand of American democracy. Really, the issue that came to be is that all of that's going on, the instability in Venezuela, and the United States was like, well, you're sitting on a hefty little reserve there. So Nicolás Maduro, you're sitting on a lot of good reserves and minerals, and we don't like how you're acting. So what happened? Let's get into the first clip. If you were in Venezuela, this is what you saw this weekend. This is what you saw. U.S. taxpayer dollars at its finest. Their military bases by some weapons of U.S. engineering. So what does this mean for Venezuelans? I'm torn, guys. Tell me what you guys think. I am torn on this because do I believe that sovereign countries should handle their own thing and do their own thing? Yes, I do. I do believe that. But do I also realize it's finally got my notifications. Yo, ¿cómo estamos, papá? Do I also realize that people in Venezuela hated Nicolás Maduro? Yes, I do. So when you have somebody that's taking over the people and like, I'm an authoritarian, I don't want to go anywhere, and people hate you, they want to get you out. They try to do it the right way by voting you out. Then it's like, oh, I still don't want to go. Then the long arm of the law comes into play. So people are saying, oh, it's a sovereign country. It's a sovereign country. I agree. But guess what, people? This is real life. And the person with the stick controls the games of the rule. And guess what? United States had the stick of justice because Venezuela had oil. So this stick was like, So what happened? So Nicolás Maduro played around. And it's como mamá, right? When your mom got a stick, if you're an immigrant, you know what this does. So what happened? So Nicolás Maduro went to sleep real comfortable at 10 o'clock. By 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock a.m., this was him. This was him. Nicolás Maduro. He's like, ooh, America.
Good night. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. All right, so an aside, if you don't wish me a Happy New Year and tell me good night when I see you, I can't be your friend. If you don't tell me Happy New Year and good night just out of pleasantry, out of being courteous, then we cannot associate together. You have a man who is an authoritarian tyrant who just lost his country, he lost his power, and he still has the decency to say Happy New Year. So sorry if you can't wish me a Happy New Year. He said, good night, Happy New Year. Sorry, just lost my country, but Happy New Year. So if you're not telling me that, then you're just rude. So Maduro loses his country, and at the end of the day, yes, it might be, who's to say what's right or wrong? I don't know. The victors write history. What you have to come out of this is understanding, well, what are people's motivations? What are their motivations? People are like, oh, liberate Venezuela, do this, it's right to help the people. You know how many countries out there are starving? You know how many countries are in guerrilla warfare and nobody cares? You know how many regimes, Darfur, Uganda, DRC, there's all sorts of uprising and humanitarian crises. The United States doesn't care. You know what they care about? I said it in a clip a couple weeks ago. Here's what they care about. I care about. So that's the Venezuelan oil situation. It's not about drugs. It's about oil and money. It's about oil and money. Venezuela has oil. Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world for crude oil. In the world, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Iraq, if you have what people want, they will try to work with you or they will try to overthrow you. One of the two. There's no third. Right? And if you don't have enough guns and weapons, then working with you won't be the option that's really on the table. So lastly, with this, I said it's about oil, but people told me, no, it's not. It's about democracy. It's about whatever. But President Trump this week had a press conference, and here's what he said.
Everyone knows the oil business in Venezuela has been a bust, a total bust, for a long period of time. They were pumping almost nothing by comparison to what they could have been pumping and what could have taken place. We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country for a long period of time.
So what do you make of this, right? Okay, it's all on the table. Now you know the situation. The United States overthrew a government because it had resources that the United States wanted. Right or wrong, the people of Venezuela are like, well, we wanted that government out anyways. We try to vote them out. So we don't really want the United States, but, the lesser of two evils, we don't know. They're kind of stuck in the middle. The United States people, though, right? If you had an issue last week buying your groceries, if you had an issue last week buying some presents for your kids or whatever, does this help you? Does this help you? Is your life better now that United States has taken over Venezuela? Puerto Venezuela. Bam, 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 bam. Bienvenido a los Estados Unidos. Venezuela. Welcome. Right? Does it really help you? In that press conference, he didn't talk about the American people. I didn't go to sleep last week thinking, man, if only we had control of Venezuela, my life would be better. Right? Like the same way, I don't really care. I don't. Anybody who tells you that they really care, they probably work in humanitarians, right? Like there's some people with really good hearts out there. I love that for them. I'm just broke. I'm trying to fix that problem first. Before I fix the Venezuelan problem, I'm trying to fix my cash flow problem. I got taxes. Ooh, watch out now. They collecting taxes this year. If you haven't paid your taxes, be careful because they just used quite a bit of bombs. They sent over like 117, 120 planes over to Venezuela. They need to pay that war bill. So pay your taxes or else they're coming for you. So that's my only issue is that this doesn't help me. Selfishly, it doesn't. So now how can it help you? All right, here's my advice. So this is a business and investment show, even though this is only for information and entertainment purposes. Don't sue me. Don't send your warships to me. All right. Do your own research. But if I was in a position to invest, right or wrong, I would invest in oil businesses in Venezuela. Chevron is already out there. I told you guys this a couple weeks ago. Chevron had a special license, but they had to operate, not in impunity, but they had to operate cautiously. I would start looking at Chevron. Last week, we talked about government contracts. You don't think that there's going to be some government contracts for businesses in Venezuela? Oh, if you speak Spanish and English, qué maravillo, papá. Van a Venezuela y empiezan un negocio porque saben que tienen que ayudar el Estados Unidos allí. Sabe este negocio, you know it's going to come. There are going to be opportunities to establish convenience stores, hotels, lodging, these soldiers that are occupying whatever, right or wrong. I'm not here to dispute that, but I'm saying if you're looking at it from a strictly business perspective, oil adjacent businesses, logistical companies, if you have a trucking company, if you have a logistics and shipping company, this is all going to come into play in the next couple of years over here in Venezuela, because all of that money and investment, warships, they're not just going to say, okay, have it back now without nothing, right? No, they're going to pump a lot of money out of there. All right. Maybe I'll start looking into some real estate out of Venezuela también. Some beachside stuff. I don't know. I feel bad sometimes talking about it like this. But this is why I love you. And I hope you guys love me, because I'm having the conversations with you in public, what they're only saying behind closed doors. It is. Who tells you to look at beachfront property in Venezuela? Right? Like somebody wish they would have told you that, you know, what when some of these other colonies were being conquered. Sorry. But we're also going to keep an eye out, guys. What does this mean on the last point of this? What does this mean also really for China and Taiwan? What does this mean for Russia? They just saw the United States take over a country with impunity. China's like, that looks real good in Taiwan, because what's the only thing that we really need more than oil and gold? Venezuela has a huge gold deposit and reserves, by the way, more than most countries in Africa. So what does this mean for China? Well, the only thing we love more than those is chips. Who has chips, computer chips, semiconductors? Who has that infrastructure? Taiwan. Taiwan, be careful. You guys, you're making all those chips. Make sure you make some planes, some anti-missiles, because guess what? The stick of Chinese justice might have just pointed to you. Communist regime is saying, hey, you know what? United States did it. We got our own stick. And they got like 1.5 billion people. Woo. So let's that's my take on Venezuela. If you are, and which is so funny, because we've been having, a lot of conversations about the truth will set you free. Got to talk about how it is, not how it makes you feel. That's right, brother. Smart man. So my last take on that is what? I lost my train of thought, guys. That comment was so honest that I lost my train of thought. Well, Yeltsin, gracias. But hold on. Okay, Chris, a president and his wife were literally kidnapped illegally by American government. We'll be extremely lucky if we just haven't started World War III, especially when president is talking about taking over other countries. I wouldn't even be thinking about investing anything in Venezuela right now. Chris, I love that. The reality is, yes, illegally kidnapped by American government. Here's what I'm going to challenge you on that, though. I wouldn't be surprised personally if it wasn't a little bit of insider communication and trading. I know that people are talking about how he was taken, right? Yeah, sure. I wouldn't be surprised if Nicolás Maduro hadn't received a phone call a day, 2 days, or a week before and said, hey, the hammer is coming down. And either you're the nail or you're the screw. I don't know. That's a bad analogy, people. But either work with us or get killed, right? We don't need to take you alive. But if you want, we have a new, he had a Nike tech suit. Who even knew his size, what clothes he wore? But, and the reality is, yes, maybe, I am worried about what the repercussions are from other countries. But I don't know. I don't know that Russia kind of got into its own kerfuffle with Ukraine. They haven't made advancements there. I don't think that they're going to overextend their military might over to the Western Hemisphere. China is the one that probably has the most to lose because China was in Venezuela was in debt to China by about $10 billion and was paying China the $10 billion in oil. So China has to make sure that they recoup their money. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know that people are going to retaliate as much as we think they are just because Nicolás Maduro did not have as much support from the local government or like the local people. When the people don't support you, it's hard to get sympathy. If he was a popular president, if he had high approval ratings, then I would be completely on board with that sentiment. But the fact that he doesn't have high approval ratings, it was either a coup, it was either an assassination, or a military hostile takeover. And we don't, what I'm saying is, remember, it's not that it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that the United States of America became united. Look at every state that we have in this country. It did not start off as United States. It started off as some little country or some little province or territory that looked very appetizing and appeasing to a sitting U.S. president. And they said, hey, look at Texas. Texas is one. I've lived in Texas, and it's one of the most patriotic states out there, self-proclaimed. We love Texas, right? They don't really like Mexico that much, but it used to be part of Mexico, right? And eventually Mexico, read up on the history on how Texas became part of the United States. They sent military in, that the military took over, and all of a sudden they put up a wall and a border fence and said, hey, this is ours now. I hate to say it, but this is how strong men have been doing it for a long time. What do we do about it? I mean, I guess we can vote the right people in. Maybe we need more women leaders, more empathetic and sympathetic women leaders. Or whatever we do, look out for your interests. Oh, I hate to say that. But it's the truth. Make sure that, like me personally, part of the reason that I started my farm is because I want food security. I don't trust that the grocery store is always going to have food when it hits the fan. You got to carry some cash on you, people, even if, sometimes the monetary system, whatever. But you can't we live in willful ignorance, thinking that, the banks are always going to have our money. The restaurants and the grocery stores are always going to have our food. That's just not the case. And if you are Nicolás Maduro, you realize that one day you could be, in the presidential palace. The next day you're in Rikers Island. That's just the reality of life. So if he wasn't, I'm just worried about how overextended we are from our government standpoint. Like, how does this help me? How does invading Venezuela help me? It doesn't, unless I invest in companies in Venezuela. Sorry. Maybe.